Okay guys, today we'll be learning about the dodge, sponge, and burn tool in Photoshop CS5. Now, this is just, picture found on the internet. You can use whatever picture you did by yourself, whatever you want. I'm going to start with the dodge tool. Now, the dodge tool, it makes the colors in your picture a lot brighter. Well, not brighter, more just tones them down a bit. Alright? And you can dodge the colors, either the shadows of your picture, the midtones of your picture, or the highlights of your picture. And you can, as you do this, you can also change the exposure of it, meaning the strength of the tool that you're using. Say, if you take it down to 20% or 25%, it's not going to be as strong as it would if it was at 100%. Alright? Now, with the dodge, and that accounts for all the tools basically. Now, with the dodge tool, shadows, when I use this we'll put it at 100% exposure, it's not really going to affect the background too much, or even her face. It's going to really affect her black jacket and her hair a lot more. It's going to make it a lot paler almost, right? I mean, it does a little bit in the background in her face, but not very much. Alright? Now, with the midtones, this is all those in-between colors that aren't quite bright enough to be highlights, but not quite dark enough to be, shadows. So these are all like your kind of base colors. Now this it's going to affect her face a lot more, and if you see, it's not really going to do much to her jacket. I mean, it's going to do a little bit, but it's not really going to do much, and it's going to affect the background more too. Alright? Also, that was at 100% exposure. You can always change that with however you want to affect it. Now, with the highlights, this is going to brighten up even more so any color that is above a certain level on the spectrum. Like, it's going to affect all those yellows and whites and much more brighter colors. So if you see here, if I do this, it's going to really brighten up her face. It's going to really make it almost orangey, and it's really going to brighten up her pink streak. But if you see, it does some to the wood and to this, because they're grays and stuff. But if you see, it's not going to do really anything to her jacket or her black hair. That's pretty much going to remain the same, because those are the shadows, not the highlights. Brighter colors. Now, moving on to the burn tool. The burn tool is really gonna darken anything that you use it on. It's basically as if you're burning it, you're holding a flame to it. It's gonna scorch. I'm gonna start with the shadows again. Also, I'm gonna put it at 100% exposure just to show you guys what it's gonna look like. I'm gonna make my brush size a little bigger, and with the shadows, this is really going to darken and really just burn the black on her hair and even in her jacket. It's going to do a little bit to her skin. As you can see, it does darken up the shadows on her skin and maybe a bit to the background. But it doesn't do too much. It's going to pretty much stay on the shadows, the darker colors. Now, if you do this on the midtones, it's going to affect the background a lot more, especially in this picture, because it's that mid-colored grays, and it's really going to darken her face a lot. It's going to bring out details in the face. It's one thing you can use this for. Alright? But, and let me just undo because I see. Alright. Now, with the highlights, this is going to basically scorch all the white or lighter colors in a picture. Like, it's going to basically scorch her face, but it's not going to do much to her jacket, as you can see over here, or it's going to do a little bit to the background, but not much. It's pretty much going to stay with the lighter colors. Alright, I'm going to go back again, and that was also, all three of those were on 100% exposure. Alright, now moving on to the sponge tool. This is basically what the name implies. It's going to sponge or draw out all of the color or most of the color from whatever picture you're editing. Alright, so if you see, if I take this at 100% flow, I'm going to start with desaturate. Desaturate is going to take out the color. When you get to that, saturate is going to bring in color, but that's for in a moment. Desaturate, as I said, it's going to draw out all of the color. As you see, all that bright orangey wood is now a gray. And also her face, it's basically going to turn it into a black and white photo with splashes of color. That's basically what the desaturate sponge tool does. Also, as I said, 100% flow. Now, if you change it to saturate, this is going to really brighten up any colors in your photo. It's really going to make it like, I want to say pasty, but not exactly. It's going to make it solid and a lot more brighter. Here, let me show you. See, if you take this wood that's already pretty kind of orangey, it's going to make it almost like a yellowy orange. Along with the concrete, it's going to make it like almost a yellowy green. And on her face, if you see, it's going to make her look like, no offense, an Oompa Loompa. She's pretty much going to be orange, or at least someone from the Jersey Shore. But that's basically what happens when you use the saturate tool. Again, this is on 100% flow. Now, that is basically how you use the dodge, sponge, and burn tool. You can use these tools for pretty much any kind of photo editing you want. It will make almost anything that you take a photo of, it can make it look professional, it can make it look like something you found in a magazine, and they're just really good tools. Alright, for example, this is some things you can do with it. We'll start with the dodge tool, right? Brighten up her face a bit, right? Make her a little more happy. This is just going to make the whole picture brighter, just because, I don't know, okay, maybe not. That makes it look like a bit weird. I'll just turn down the exposure a bit. This will turn down the strength, as I said earlier, and it'll just brighten it up a bit. Not as much, but it'll just brighten it up a bit, alright? And after you've done this, what you want to do is then you go into the burn tool. This is going to make it look almost fierce, I guess you could say. Now you want to do the midtones and turn this down a bit, size, and it's going to burn all of the, I have it set to midtones, so it's going to burn all of the, like, you know, midtones. It's going to make it all dark, and as you can see, she kind of looks pretty, you know, something you'd see in a magazine, sort of. I'm not very good with the photo editing aspect, but it's, you know, basically what it's going to do. It's going to make it look like somewhat professional. It's getting there. I know I'm not good. Anyway, so if you do that, you go to sponge tool, you want to make this, you know, whoops, that's unsaturate. Desaturate, and it's gonna make everything just blah. So yeah, guys, that's the dodge, burn, and sponge tool in Photoshop CS5. Hope you enjoy. If you want, please subscribe and go to my YouTube channel. This is my first video, so there's not gonna be any up right now, but there will be at later times. So please go down below in the description, subscribe. Thank you. Goodbye.